If you were there in 2017, you'll remember the original Yooka Laylee, a fun adventure about a chameleon and a bat collecting pages to fill up a magical book and take down the notorious Capital B. The game's layout and artistic design was heavily based off of the original Banjo-Kazooie, all the way down to the cheeky banner and sarcasm of the main characters. This all tracks because the founders of Playtonic Games, who created Yooka Laylee, were actually members of the rare team that made Banjo-Kazooie. So who would know how to make a spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie better than the creators of Banjo-Kazooie? But there was one problem with the original Yooka Laylee. It wasn't that good. Now don't get me wrong, I loved it, but that's also because I didn't really have anything to compare it to at the time. The biggest critic of any art tends to be the artist, and the Playtonic team obviously saw the holes in their own design. But instead of just making small updates to the game, they decided to recreate it from the ground up in a brand new remaster. But before hopping onto Yooka Replaylee, I went back to get a grasp of what I should be expecting with this new vision. No, further back, because for the first time in my life, I finally 100%ed Banjo-Kazooie. This was a big moment for me, honestly, because I've played this all throughout my childhood, but I never actually fully beat it. And then I played Yooka Laylee again, and I definitely see how it mimics a lot of what made Banjo-Kazooie great. And while it did improve some of the outdated game design that wasn't fully understood yet in the 90s, it didn't quite hit the mark at bringing it up to standard. But now that I've played Yooka Replaylee, it's like they knew every single point that they missed and hit the nail on the head. It's not just a remastered at this point, this is basically a brand new game. And here is where the review actually starts, so thank you for sitting through that intro. Hopping into the game for the first time, the first point I want to make is about the way that it looks. It is gorgeous now. Like, look at it side to side with the original. There is a huge difference in lighting, color, and even frame rate. Obviously, Banjo-Kazooie was on the Nintendo 64 and it had its graphical limitations, but the original Yooka Laylee felt like it didn't understand how lighting and shadows worked. Everything was always in the dark. But now everything is lit up and easy to see, no matter where you go. The other thing that I noticed almost right away was how much better the camera was too. It is hard to get the camera right in a 3D platformer. I get it. When it comes to platformers, if the camera's good, you'll barely even notice. But when it's bad, you definitely notice. In the original Yooka Laylee, the camera never felt fully in your control and made it really hard to navigate through paths or help you gauge distance when trying to make jumps. Yooka Replaylee completely changed its camera. It works more in a dynamic way where the camera will shift to move to certain points, and in some cases stays fixed so you can get more precise with your jumps and movement. They changed the way that a lot of these rooms work, so the moment you enter, the camera gets set at a certain point so you can just freely move throughout the room. You can literally see the difference in this minigame where on the original, you're kind of flailing about, but in Yooka Replaylee, you have a more fixed camera so you can better gauge your positioning. Think of the overworld in the Impossible Lair. It's not like that everywhere, but it's definitely welcomed in some of the bonus areas inside the tomes. Speaking of the Grand Tomes though, they have undergone a lot of improvements. The original game had you enter each world to find it incomplete, and only after collecting enough pages would you be able to expand the area to discover more. I am so glad that they threw this idea out the window. Now every section of the world is available as soon as you open them. This takes away unnecessary backtracking and tediously revisiting every world just to get enough pages. You can play the game completely linear if you want, just the way God intended. Not to mention specific parts of the world that were completely overhauled because the original parts, well, to put it plainly, they just kinda sucked. Like this one section in Glitter Glaze Glacier that used to make you stay warm and roll across these icy ramps, now instead you just solve a quick puzzle to melt the ice. This allows you to just quickly run through it after completing it so you can traverse the world more easily. And this goes for a lot of the little bonus areas and levels within the tomes too. The Gloomy Gem Grotto is a perfect example, as the original was dark and included these obnoxious ramps that you would easily fall off of, but now it's a more straightforward platforming section that is still dark, yes, but much less annoying. Maybe even a little too easy, but we'll get to that. But I do want to state that a majority of this video now is going to be dedicated to the quality of life updates and the updated mechanics, because there is quite a lot of them, and they are all very good. First off, there's a real tutorial now, which acts as a natural introduction to the game, as well as a refresher to your move list. And why might you need a refresher of that? because another brilliant aspect of the game is that they give you your entire move list right away. You don't need to go world to world unlocking them, just to go back to previous tomes and then use them to collect 1 or 2 pages that you missed before. It's like they saw what speedrunners were doing in Banjo-Kazooie, where they glitched the move list onto a new file and went, yeah, that should be the standard. They even cleverly write this into the lore by showing that whatever is written into the one book becomes real. So Laylee quickly writes in that they get all their moves right away. The moves are slightly altered a bit, like the new triple tail attack, but I think it feels a lot better. The spin jump now goes horizontally rather than vertically, so it looks less awkward, and they made it where the rolling move doesn't use up your energy anymore. You can just roll around and boost at will, which is one of the best changes they made. The other best change that they made was altering the fly move to just be a slurp shot ability. Now, instead of being able to fly past every obstacle, rendering most of the actual challenge of the game useless, it only exists in certain areas where it's used for particular puzzles. I mean, you can kind of still use it to schmooze a puzzle here or there, but it's not as egregious anymore. So with all of the changes to how you obtain moves now, it begs the real question. What happened to Trowser? By the way, Trowser is easily like the best character in the whole game. I love him very much, and I am starting a Trowser fan club. So if you want to join that fan club, leave a like on the video. I'm sorry, that was In the original, his job was to teach and sell you moves throughout the game. Without any new moves to learn, he can't really do that now. But that's okay because he got a new job. And we're all very proud of him for that, because the job market right now is terrible. You can find him inside every tome where he sells you upgrades like larger health and energy limits, and new tonics and cosmetics. You use the new colored quills located in each tome to buy these, and it adds an extra incentive to try to find them all. So don't worry, he is still very well employed. On top of the color coordinated quills, they also expanded the other types of collectibles that can be found too. They did take out the butterfly booster and the power extenders, so obviously they had to replace those with something, and in most of the original hiding places for these items, you can now find Pagey pieces. It's kind of like that one torn up Pagey in Tribal Stack Tropics, but now it's everywhere. But I have to say, the best collectible that they added to this game is the quid. It is basically just a coin, but this fits so well into this game that halfway through Tribal Stack Tropics, I had to remind myself that these weren't in the original. And the reason why it's so brilliant is that it accomplishes a few things. Number 1, it's a brand new collectible for you to use to earn new accessories and skins for Yooka Laylee. Number 2, it acts as a life system where every time you die, you don't lose a life, but you do lose some of your quids. It provides a punishment for your mistakes without crucifying you with a full game over. Number 3, it adds 2 new types of puzzles to the tomes with the red quids and the green quids. Red quids are similar to the red coins in Mario, where you have to parkour around and collect them all, and the green ones are the same, but instead of parkouring, it's more of a sprint and speed challenge. And then number 4, and this is a big one, it helps the game feel more full. The biggest complaint of the original was how empty each world felt when all the collectibles were far and few between. Now, even when returning to worlds, there's still quids everywhere to provide a fuller space. Easily the best thing they could have done for this game. The Pagey's got a massive upgrade too. The total Pagey amount more than doubled from 145 to 300. And there's a few explanations for that. One is the very obvious fact that they added in new challenges and puzzles to every world to help fill the space. But there are a few smaller points too, like the fact that defeating every world boss now gives you 3 Pages instead of 1. It's like they saw that Mario Odyssey bosses gave you 3 moons and thought it would be a good idea to adopt it. Which I fully believe because they did the exact same thing with the new health bar and life system as well. But like, why wouldn't they? Mario Odyssey is considered one of the best 3D platformers of all time. Yeah, I'd be copying it too. Additionally, every Ghost Rider you find gives you an individual Pagey, and finding them all rewards you with 3 bonus Pages. Completing all the new Rextro arcades gives you up to 3 Pages, and the Kartos mine challenges also reward up to 3 Pages. But I don't want to just look over the Rextro and the Kartos changes, because they absolutely are some massive upgrades from the last game. Rextro's minigames were all over the place with these interesting minigames that when you finished them, you'd get a Pagey. They weren't that bad, but if you wanted the second Pagey, you had to go beat the high scores as well. I would definitely describe it more as frustrating than fun. Well, now that's completely gone, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Now all of Rextro's games have a coherent feel to them. This time you get to play as Rextro, which feels way more on brand, and all of them play the same instead of just throwing random mini games at you. There's smaller little puzzle platformers that have you navigate to the end while collecting medals. Each medal collected is a pagey earned. Definitely a better feel than before. Kartos' challenges are immensely better too. Before, you could boost forward, hold back, jump, and fire as many cannons as you wanted as long as you got enough gems and made it to the end. These weren't as fun just because it was tough to control and didn't feel like you had a good rhythm when you played it. Now, every single Kartos challenge feels intentionally made. And let me explain what I mean by that. In Yooka Replaylee, the Kartos challenges only give you 2 buttons, jump and shoot. And you can only shoot a cannonball if you pick one up from the track. So with less that you have to worry about, the more you feel in control. Think of it like how Geometry Dash only has 1 button, and that's jump. But the game is still engaging because every level is intentionally made for you to work around that one mechanic. You only complete the levels because you either jump or don't jump at the right moments. The Kartos levels work in the same way. In order to get every gem and earn all 3 pages, you have to learn the course to know where to jump and when to use each cannonball. Then route your path to 100% the level. And honestly, that's way more fun than just randomly jumping and boosting and firing, hoping you get enough gems before the end. These are just specific examples though, because there are a ton of quality of life changes and little updates all over the game to make it so much better. I do want to point out a few more though. One of them is that Yooka and Laylee do a little dance now whenever they earn a pagey, kind of like when Banjo and Kazooie would get a jiggy. I don't know how that was never put into the original, but thank God it's here now, and it is adorable. They also completely removed the Dr. Quack quizzes. I mean, I liked them, but I can't see how they were objectively bad game design. They also added a map in each tome and area so you can keep track of where you are, where the pages you found were, and added a new character named Mark that gives you the ability to fast travel across the map going from mark to mark. And the last change that I wanted to point out was instead of having to choose between eating a butterfly to get your health back or running into it to get your stamina back, doing either now grants both. Such a fundamental change with such a big impact. I personally had the privilege to be given a review code, so I'd like to thank Playtonic not just for the opportunity, but for also a wonderful gaming experience. If I had to choose any one downside, it would be that the game might be just a little too easy. Which I'm not going to count as a problem personally, but I know that others might. Some of the puzzles in this game didn't feel all that puzzling, and many of the pages are found just by ground pounding over here or running over there and grabbing them. It's obvious that some of this was the fact that they're carrying over the challenges from the previous game that were locked behind needing certain moves that you would obtain later, but now that you have all the moves, you can just go straight there. So there is a little bit of forgiveness in that. And if you do want more challenge from this game, I highly recommend going for 100% because some of these pages will test your abilities. But what I think this does more than anything is it makes the game more approachable. With colorful mascots like Yooka and Laylee, I hope there are kids who get to play and enjoy this game, because a game like this should be experienced by everyone. And it's because of all the reasons I stated before that I truly believe that Yooka Replaylee finally made itself a worthy successor to Banjo-Kazooie. So my consensus? I love it! I don't even want to touch the old one anymore, because this one is just so much better. So if you've gotten a chance to play it, I want to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, or if you disagree with any of my sentiments, I would love to have a conversation about it. And if you're coming across this video because you want to see if the game is worth picking up, I want to give you a resounding yes. Unless maybe the only game you've played up to this point is like Call of Duty, then my answer is still yes, but you'll need a bit of an adjustment period. And the last thing I want to leave you with is this button that I found that continuously launches corplets into toxic goo. You can just push that button forever. Okay, leave a like and subscribe.